Phone is charging, so I'm going to be making this video for you like this. I just spoke with Hardge. We spoke for about 32 minutes on the phone. This is the first time I've ever spoken to him. You guys know I posted YouTube videos months ago with his picture talking about his entrance into Mullen company. Well, today we finally spoke. The way I got in contact with him, someone sent me his number yesterday. Lawrence said I was able to give him a call. I texted and then I called him and we spoke, right? I'm gonna update you on everything we talked about, okay? Here we go. I gotta grab my laptop to get my notes. I did not record our phone conversation, but I will share the details with you all. So first thing, we kind of talked about a lot of things. I was taking notes as we kept talking over the 30 minutes. He's done talking. He did everything. They keep adding things after the agreement. So that was the whole ordeal, right? Apparently, they had an agreement, him and Mullen. And of course, I don't know what is true, what is accurate. I'm just sharing my conversation with you all from what I had with Lawrence. So they had an original agreement. They said they were going to pay him a certain amount of money. They never paid him that money. All they paid him was $50,000. And he wasn't happy because that went straight to legal fees. So they wanted additional testing of the technology, it sounds like, but him and his lawyers wanted to get paid the original fee that they were supposed to get from the first agreement. So a lot of miscommunication, it sounds like. It sounds like it's an issue that they need to deal with together, being him and Mullen. Another thing he said is, so from that first part, and I'll kind of break this up for you all, he seems pretty upset because Mullen didn't fulfill what they said they were going to do with the original agreement, right? And he said it takes like 60 to 90 days to test these applications. So with what they're asking for, he didn't want to pull all his guys and spend even more money to go test more vehicles because he's already in the hole with legal fees, paying his guys and all the other deals that he has going on. And apparently his lawyer said it seems like Mullen's just messing around and not to go do additional testing. And he didn't feel confident that Mullen would even pay him after the 90 days of more testing. So he didn't want to go through with more testing because he's already done testing. Moving on. He said, I never met David. I've never been a part of his meetings. I want the best for Mullins. I want the best for shareholders, but I can no longer wait on them. I have too much business going on. I have to pay people. Why would I get them involved if I haven't been paid? Okay, so exactly what I just said is he hasn't gotten paid what he feels like he deserves to make from agreements or whatever it might be. I don't know the fine details, but that's basically what is going on. He said he's working on Lucid vehicles right now. That's going to cost money. It's been very expensive for his guys in Saudi Arabia. He has a lot of deals going on over there. He's only gotten paid $50,000. Now, I asked him a very important question, I think, because I wanted to know answers. I want to know, is there anything left between you and Mullen? So I just said, are you done with Mullen? He said, the tech is going into mass production. Mullen can buy it like anyone else. So his technology is going into production. Everyone's available to buy his technology is what he's saying. Outside of that, I'm not going to continue to deplete my resources. Again, he was stating that they came up with a new agreement that he was upset with because he wanted to get paid the original that they said they would pay him. He also said he has more contracts with the government. And he was referred to Mullen. He didn't know David's history. Speaking of that, he did say he's spoken to David one time, and it was last week, about a week ago. And David was asking him to come down to Michigan to test some vehicles. And then that's when he said no, and his legal team said no. Now, he did say one positive thing about Mullen that I did appreciate. He said if Mullen does everything that they say they're going to do, they are going to do well with Hardge or without Hardge if they have all this lined up for production, right? And you know, I've been believing that Mullen has production lined up, and that's one of the reasons that I invested in Mullen, especially these Class 1 vehicles. So I asked him another question. I said, are you going to another company? If it's not going to be with Mullen, then are you going to another company? And he said there's big international companies coming at me. And he's got an offer for an exclusive offer. But he didn't name any companies. Then he was saying, if you filed something with the SEC, why haven't you paid me? right? So again, it is a lot of fine details I can share with you all, but it was basically around that. It has nothing to do, they have to deal with it, right? There's nothing I can do. There's nothing no one can do. It's unfortunate, this situation with whatever's going to come. You know, if he is officially walking away, or if him and David and Mullen and whoever gonna come up with a different agreement so that they can continue this journey. So I asked another question to Lawrence. I said, have you asked them to pay partial? Have you thought of, hey, I'll come test these vehicles if you give me a partial payment, up to $5 million or whatever their agreement was? He said he asked that, and they said no, they can't do that because they've already put out the news that they were going to pay him X amount of dollars. And he said he's never heard of that before. So that wasn't available, apparently. He said he appreciates all the investors, the shareholders. He really cares about shareholders, but it's kind of out of his hands. There's nothing to say. He always talked to a third party. He's never really spoken to David except that one time that he said last week. He's saying if they put money in the trust and they pay him, then the show goes on, right? But that's the problem, is that's not happening from what it sounds like. So this deal might not happen anymore with MAEO. He also said Mullen would have made hundreds of millions off of me, but they are messing around. But he did say he's never talked bad about anyone or anything from Mullen Automotive. He wants to see Mullen succeed, and he kept saying that he doesn't own any shares of Mullen. There's no reason he would be saying any of this stuff if it wasn't true. But he also said some of the companies don't want to deal with David. They wanted to work directly with Lawrence, and that's another problem with this whole LLC situation and his technology. And that's pretty much it, right? As much as I could have taken in a 30-minute phone call, those are all the notes I have. You know, business is tough. I understand entrepreneurship is tough. Last thing I'll say is sometimes you have to do more if you want the big deal, even if you haven't gotten paid. So just me being an entrepreneur, I've been in business now for 6 years. I understand how hard it can be at times. And I don't know Lawrence's situation. I don't know David's situation or Mullen and all that stuff. But all I know is sometimes if you want something big, like really big to happen, you got to put in the extra work. You got to go the extra mile. You have to sometimes work and not get paid. Sometimes you have to come out of pocket. Now, of course, I'm talking about my own situation and other people that have been in business, but that's all I have to say. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like this video so we can get this out to more people. Hopefully this was helpful. Of course, none of this is financial advice, nothing I said. This is just my own opinion and how the conversation went.